The night before our wedding, Daniel looked me in the eye and asked for a night of freedom with his first love. He promised that after tonight, he would be faithful to our marriage till death. I stared at him for a while before nodding. As he passed me, he casually mentioned I could also find a man tonight and that he wouldn't mind. No need to go outside, I thought, turning silently to face his best buddy. With a deep gaze, I asked, want to spend the night together? If he had a first love, didn't I also? The room was packed with people, his close friends and my bridesmaids. After a few rounds of drinks, everyone was a bit tipsy. Daniel suddenly pulled his childhood first love, Jenny, close and said, Jenny, see? First loves just can't beat the ones who come later. Then he added, I'm getting married tomorrow. Do you maybe have a tinge of regret? Jenny's face showed an overwhelming sadness, as if she could burst into tears any second. But what could regret even do? She softly replied, well, you fell in love with her later on. Daniel gazed at Jenny's tear-filled eyes, his expression full of care. Why not make up for that regret tonight? Jenny asked, how would we do that? Daniel slowly looked over at me, exclaiming, honey, tomorrow we're a married couple. I promise I'll be loyal to our marriage till death, never betraying you. But tonight, on the eve of our wedding, why not find excitement in granting each other a night of freedom? Guilty shouts echoed through the room. My icy demeanor turned the atmosphere silent. Daniel's intentions were crystal clear. He wanted to spend a carefree night with his lifelong crush, his first love, to make up for their love without intimacy. He presumed I wouldn't completely deny him, thinking he'd soothe me afterwards and I'd let it go. His confidence was simple. At first glance, he pursued me ardently, but in terms of family background, I was the one marrying up. He assumed that not only was I charmed by him, but also deeply reluctant to leave his wealthy family. After all, for a girl like me, with parents who were ordinary workers, marrying into a wealthy family seemed so far-fetched. Meeting him felt like an incredible stroke of luck. Yet, I had been through something similar, but not with him. My sisters at my side tugged my sleeve. Betty, don't fall for it. Don't agree. As I stared at Daniel, I saw the determination and persistence in his eyes. I finally nodded, speaking calmly, all right, I agree. The room burst into applause and laughter. The tense silence dissolved instantly. Sister-in-law, you're awesome. It's no wonder you were allowed through the booth's door. Daniel's dad even had exactly 3 days and 3 nights for him to marry you. Women marrying into a family like ours need that grace. With a slightly relaxed smile, Daniel pulled Jenny closer and stood up. All right, it's getting late, and I have a wedding tomorrow, so I can't stay out with you all. I'm heading out with Jenny. Order what you like, the tab's on me tonight. Cheers erupted once again. Oh, Jenny's in for a night now, were the teasing cries. As they passed by me, Daniel, trying to maintain fairness, said, honey, if you want, you can find a man tonight, I swear I won't mind. He likely thought I was too prudish to go wild, which is why he said that. I shot him a glance. Really? He raised an eyebrow. Of course. When I say something, I mean it. Just like I said I'd marry you, and look, I am. With an air of pride, as if marrying me was a huge favor, I set his gaze aside and focused on a man sitting in the corner, a man who had been silent all evening. No need to look outside, I responded firmly. I paid no attention to Daniel's expression as I rose, silently approaching the man, crouching down to a low stance, emotion spilling as I looked up to meet his eyes. Carefully I invited, want to spend the night together? The man, ice cold, lounged back against the leather couch, looking like he'd kick me away in seconds. Suddenly there was a bit of laughter behind me. It was Daniel. Honey, of all the guys, you chose him? He's been avoiding women ever since his first love broke his heart. The term misogynistic lingered in my mind. Was it true? My emotions swirled as I locked eyes with him, the face that haunted my sleepless nights for so long. Seeing him again tonight, if not for the liquor's courage, I'd never have dared to look directly. My nails dug into my palms, uncertain how he would respond. Then a cold shoe tip lifting my chin, his jaw firm, expression growing colder as he interrogated, are you sure? Nervous yet determined, I pushed my chin harder against his shoe. Sure. He suddenly got up from the couch, surprising everyone who thought I had angered him enough to be thrown away. Just recently, I heard a story of a celebrity flirting with him at a party. He found her annoying and pushed her into a pool without a second thought. Daniel quickly intervened, addressing him, brother, she's my wife. Go easy. She didn't mean to irritate you. He turned to me. Betty, get up. Didn't I tell you? He's not someone you can provoke. He's not interested in women anyway. And I know you don't like anyone besides me. Don't pretend otherwise in front of me, it's obvious. Not sure where Daniel went wrong. The man pushed him several steps away, eyes sharp as daggers. Who says I'm not interested in women? Suddenly, everything went blurry, and I found myself hoisted over his shoulder. His voice, low with a mix of grievance and determination, whispered into my ear. Betty, you came looking for me yourself. We were just about to walk out, leaving everyone in shock. With me on his shoulder, my good friend Daniel shouted from behind, Justin, what's going on? Yeah, his name Justin. Justin paused, turned slightly, his tone devoid of warmth. Exactly what it sounds like. Daniel's voice showed urgency. Are you serious? That's my wife. All night hearing wife was a bit unnerving, wasn't it? Justin looked Daniel straight in the eye, as if he didn't want to say another word, then just turned around and kept walking out with me. Daniel, visibly anxious, caught up and grabbed Justin's arm. Justin, we grew up together, remember? You know you shouldn't mess with your friend's wife. But Justin had no intention of putting me down. He brushed off Daniel's hand and pushed hard on his shoulder, pinning him against the wall right next to Jenny at the door, their faces almost touching. His tone was cold, you know it, so take care of yourself. I was already feeling a bit dizzy from the alcohol. With my head resting on Justin's back, it only got worse. I tried to get him to put me down, quietly called his name, but he just snapped back. Stop calling. Do we even know each other that well? I swallowed the rest of the words, gritting my teeth. Dizziness is no big deal, I can handle it. After all, I owe him. Daniel, still persistent, looked like he was coming after us. Justin, if you're gonna mess around, we're done. Yet his friend stopped him. Daniel, you know Justin's been in a foul mood since he got back. Just leave it. Remember that project you bid so low on? He didn't say a word because you two are close. He's probably holding a grudge. You know how much you care about your wife, and maybe tonight he's just teasing you for fun. He'll probably let her go in a bit. He's been alone for so long, you know this. We even joke around, calling him the Black Monk. Never smiles, not into women. Avoids them like the plague. And wasn't it you who gave him that nickname? Relax. His heart's still stuck on his first love, that wildcat who ditched him. He's not gonna touch your wife. Daniel didn't follow, and Justin and I moved further away. Before entering the elevator, I heard my bridesmaids teasing Daniel. Can't handle it, huh? Weren't you saying one night of freedom? A man's word, as serious as a team of horses, can't chase it back. You could find a guy too, I wouldn't mind. Our Betty is single and free tonight. At the VIP parking spot, Justin did toss me into the passenger seat of his car. His black Pagani sped away into the night. The villa was stylish. I didn't recognize it, I'd never been there. Once inside, he ripped off my coat, firmly holding my neck. Kisses full of anger and resentment fell on my lips. I flinched, pushed him gently, Justin. But my waist was locked tight, pinned against the wall, not able to move an inch. His voice was harsh. Isn't this what you wanted? Why are you backing off now? I couldn't argue, so I pleaded, be gentle. Then he tossed me onto the bed, not intending to be gentle at all. Clothes hit the floor piece by piece. His aggression showed no mercy, until he realized I was still untouched. He froze. That handsome, cold face finally softened a bit. Never slept with Daniel? After years apart, how do I explain the situation to him? I bit my lip, answered evasively. Never got the chance. Engaged couples not sleeping together is unheard of in modern times. But there's a reason. Technically speaking, Daniel and I never dated. We skipped straight to the end, marriage. But that didn't change the fact that he truly wanted to marry me, and I wanted to be with him. After tonight, though, everything would change. Justin frowned deeply, staring at me for a long time, probably finding it unbelievable that Daniel and I had never been intimate. But the truth was right there. He had to accept that I hadn't been with another man. His eyes, usually icy, began to warm up, slowly revealing a hint of long-suppressed resentment and affection. Finally, with a sigh, he let down his guard and held me close, kissed the lips he had bitten so harshly before. He rolled over, drawing my head to his shoulder. Close together. I heard his heated breath murmur, "Betty, I still love you." After that, his kisses grew tender and lingering. Tears welled up in my eyes, the ceiling light above kept spinning blurred. After midnight, my phone suddenly vibrated noisily. The cheerful ringtone became annoying, breaking his focus. It was my phone. It was Daniel. Who's got time for him now? I tried to swipe it away but accidentally hit the call button because my fingers were unsteady. Daniel's unmistakably anxious voice came through immediately. "Honey, why aren't you home? Where did Justin take you? We're done with this pre-wedding nonsense game. It's boring, and to be honest, Ginny can't even compare to you. Where are you? I'll come get you." I totally regret suggesting that stupid idea in the booth. Before I could say another word, Justin snatched my phone away. His tone was cocky. "Regret it? Too late. She can't go home with you because she's in my bed right now." "What? Justin?" Click. The call ended abruptly as Justin shut off the phone and tossed it away. I was the one who got caught up in Daniel's mess, but I was the one who paid the price. He moved me from one end of the bed to the other, nibbling on my ear, whispering again. Time kept ticking away, and no matter how much I hoped for a moment of peace, it never came. Finally, dawn broke. The light was so bright it pierced through the drawn curtains. Today was my wedding day with Daniel. I should be rushing home, getting ready in my wedding dress, sitting in front of the vanity getting my bridal makeup done, quietly waiting for Daniel and his long line of wedding cars to pick me up. Of course, Justin knew this too. This man who never seemed to tire. His edginess slowly settled as daylight approached. But he wouldn't let me leave. Begging didn't work, pleading didn't work, sweet-talking didn't work. All he did was ask with those intense, reddened eyes of his. "Don't marry him, promise me, promise me. Betty, don't marry him, please." I wanted to say yes just for a moment of rest, but I couldn't even form the words. With no answer, it seemed like despair overtook him, and he fell on me without any strength left. He held me tight, bitterness in his voice. "Betty, don't marry him, I'm begging you." Finally, there was a pause that let me respond. My voice was hoarse. He immediately propped himself up, eyes burning. "You agree?" I nodded hard. "If I don't agree, would you let me go marry your best friend? After seeing what a mess Daniel is, am I dumb enough to marry him?" His Adam's apple bobbed as he seemed to deliberate before asking, "If I said I want to be with you again, would you be up for it?" I was so exhausted I could only laugh weakly, tapping my little fists against his chest. "Justin, we've been up all night, not even a minute's rest, and now you ask that?" Suddenly, his expression softened. "So you would?" All I could do was nod again, this time more emphatically. A loud kiss landed on my cheek as he helped me sit up. "Betty, come with me." "Where?" "You'll see when we get there." I shook my head, collapsing back onto the bed. "Can't do it, another day maybe, I'm too tired to move." Firmly he said, "No, it has to be today, right now. If you can't move, I'll carry you." He was already hurriedly helping me dress, leaving me flustered. "We're a mess. After last night, really, at least a quick shower." He was in a rush. "Doesn't matter, nobody'll know, we can clean up later and toss these clothes." And just like that, two exhausted, reckless people left the house hastily wrapped in makeshift cover. Justin carried me to the car, setting me in the passenger seat, driving steadily yet fast. I saw him check my handbag as we pulled away, not sure why. Soon after leaving the villa, he casually reminded me, "Betty, turn your phone back on. Let your family know the wedding's off so they don't waste a trip there." Oh right. It clicked for me. I was nearly out of it from exhaustion. Ignored Daniel's persistent texts and calls to reach my parents first. I reached out to family and friends, and by the time I was done, we arrived at wherever Justin was taking me. Looking out, I was dumbstruck. The sign in bright, bold letters read, "Marriage Registry. City Hall?" Was he serious? I gazed at him, stunned, but he just chuckled softly, turning off the car and lifting me out. We found ourselves sitting at the waiting area outside the registry. It wasn't even open. Yet here he was in such a hurry, having rushed us both over unkempt. Holding me close, finally calming down, he said, "Betty, we've been apart for 7 years. Don't you think that's a long time to miss each other? I can't wait a second longer. If you're willing, let's get the papers done." Please. How could I not be willing? My first love waited 7 years for me, and I never truly let go of him. Now, the chance to be with him officially, why wouldn't I want that? but memories of how his mom forcefully confronted me years ago surfaced. Us getting married so simply? His family is like top in the nation on wealth lists. How could it be so easy? So I couldn't help but ask, your family? Betty. He cut me off. Look straight into my eyes. A grown man and woman are in love, want to be together, and want it to last forever. They want a certificate to protect their relationship. I don't think they need their elders' permission. They have their thoughts, but you and I are adults. Getting married is just between us two. Of course, about your parents. I'll take the initiative to apologize to your mom and dad. I'll accept any scolding or punishment until they agree to let me be their son-in-law. But as for my family, Justin took a deep breath. It's always been tough. His gaze got a little intense. Betty, I'll say this once. If you dare to back down, run away, or leave me like you did 7 years ago, you're dead meat. I quickly leaned my head into his chest to soothe him. I won't run, never again. I'll listen to you completely. When the Civil Affairs office opened, there were already a few couples lined up behind us. As he skillfully took my ID out of my purse, I remembered how sneaky he was earlier when he checked to make sure everything was there. Of course, we were the first couple to register for marriage today. Both of us hadn't slept all night, and we had big dark circles under our eyes. We might have looked worn out, but in the picture on our marriage certificate, we were grinning like fools. It was obvious that this marriage was consensual, very consensual. The official stamp got put in the corner of our photo, and we each got a copy. As I grabbed the red booklet, my hands were shaking with excitement, and so were his. I got married with my first love. He picked me up in his arms and gave me a big kiss on the cheek. As we walked out the door of the office, he leaned into my ear and whispered in a heavy breath, "Wife." I was too shy to look at him, covering my face with my hands, but I couldn't hide my big smile and answered him back, "Husband." Having our phones off was peaceful, and on our way back to the villa, he took me shopping for a couple of outfits. As soon as we got in, he pulled off my clothes and tossed them all into the trash. Then he carried me into the bathroom to shower and play around. Afterward, I changed into the new pajamas we bought and rested on a soft couch, watching as he made a late breakfast in the kitchen. Shrimp and egg custard, one of my favorite meals when we were together before. He still remembered. He brought it over and fed me each bite. There's annoying stuff to deal with, but we have to face it. After washing up and eating, we both felt more energized. Justin turned his phone on first. It got flooded with calls instantly. He answered. The first voice was a mutual friend of his and Daniel's. "Dude. Justin, you're finally on. Where are you? Are you seriously with that Betty chick? You know Daniel's going crazy looking for you since last night, driving all over. He's searched all your places in the city. Today's his wedding day, and both the bride and groom are missing in action. The groom's side is full of guests, but the bride's side is a no-show. It's all over the news now. The Smith's wedding bride runs away. Everyone's laughing at them online. Daniel's on his way to your villa on Punan Road." I was holding my breath listening, but Justin stayed calm. "I'm over here on Punan Road. Let him come." The call ended. Justin placed the finished dishes on the table, held my hands and said, "Babe, go change your clothes. After we see Daniel, I'll go back with you to your parents to explain everything so they don't worry at home." I nodded, okay. Just as we finished changing, Daniel was at the door, pounding on it. Justin pressed a button to let him in. Daniel looked a mess, also sporting massive dark circles, his eyes bloodshot red. His unshaven chin made him look more like a scruffy old man down on his luck than a young groom. When he walked in, his anger looked like it could set the whole villa on fire. First, he glared daggers at Justin, then noticed me standing behind. He took several deep breaths, as if swallowing his words through gritted teeth. Ignoring Justin, he tried to control his emotions when speaking to me. "Babe, today's our wedding day, remember? Let's go, we still have time to get married." He reached for my hand. Justin smacked it away. "Daniel, there's no wedding or license, so stop calling her your wife." Daniel shouted. "Isn't the wedding happening now?" The two of them locked eyes, Justin's expression growing more serious. I spoke up from behind. "Daniel, I accepted your suggestion of a free night before marriage, but I didn't promise to marry you today. I'm sorry, but after last night, we're both single again. I can't marry you." Hearing my words of refusal, Daniel asked Justin through clenched teeth, "Did you sleep with her last night?" Justin calmly replied, "What do you think?" I didn't quite catch what was happening until I was hit by Daniel's punch. Justin staggered but then quickly retaliated with a punch to Daniel's face. Daniel stumbled backward into the shoe rack at the entrance. Justin turned to grab our marriage certificate, held onto Daniel's collar, and shoved it in his face. "Take a good look. Betty is my wife now. Call her babe again and see what happens." Daniel was stunned, reaching for the marriage certificate. He saw our goofy, happy faces on the photo and the fresh registration date beside it. Finally realizing the truth, he grabbed Justin's collar again, looking between us with anger and disbelief. "When did you two get together? Were you guys sneaking around behind my back?" He punched Justin in the face. "Justin, I thought you were my best friend. How could you stab me in the back like this? You slept with my woman. You totally backstabbed me. I haven't even touched her yet. And you had the nerve to take her to sign the papers on our wedding day. I'm gonna take you down. You ungrateful jerk, who's your woman?" "She's mine. Mine." The two of them started fighting, rolling around on the ground. I had no choice but to intervene, but I only held back Daniel, not Justin. As they kept going, maybe because I was being biased, Daniel was really getting beaten badly. He started to cry in between his cussing. "You call me a jerk? You're the jerk. We were best friends and you went and did this to me. Do you know how much effort it took for me to date her? I chased her for a whole year. I spent millions on her and still she wouldn't give in. Sobi." I kneeled for 3 days and nights in my dad's study, took a thrashing from my dad for 3 days with my skin in tatters, just so that he'd let me handle my own marriage affairs. He pointed at me, all aggrieved. That's what finally made her believe in my sincerity. And she still wouldn't let me touch her, saying we needed to take it slow. And now you get all the benefits. Although my parents think she's just an educated nerd, of no benefit to our family business, and didn't approve of me marrying her. But getting to marry someone who's a tall, pretty PhD scientist is something I'm so proud of. Among all the guys, I held my head high. They were all so jealous, saying it was way better than marrying rich girls who just shop and get facials. Why'd you have to steal her from me? I thought you loved that first love who ditched you? Go find her. Justin, give her back to me, give her back, sob. This fight wasn't going anywhere, and Daniel was a blubbering mess at this point. He was rolling around on the floor crying. Thinking about his grand pursuit over the year really brought some sunshine into my otherwise boring life of research. To be fair, I was kind of moved by him. Most of the time, I wouldn't even think of the name Justin. I thought maybe I could finally let go of that first love from afar. Maybe I should cherish this second intense love in my life. If I miss it, maybe I'll really just end up alone. But I'm not in love with Daniel, the rich kid, and I don't have the energy for a fling. Yet I did want to give things with him a shot seriously with marriage in mind. So one day, when he was waiting for me outside the research institute, I asked him, "Are you just playing around with me? You know I'm busy with research every day. I really don't have time for a fling. So if I say yes to you, will we get married?" Maybe he misunderstood, thinking I was asking to get married right away. After dropping me off, he said confidently, "Give me 3 days and I'll have a clear answer for you. Wait for me." Then he went and kneeled in his dad's study for 3 days, taking the family punishment, just to get his dad's approval to marry me. When he came back, all beaten and bruised but smiling, he said, "My parents agreed. If you want, we can get married right away. Betty, I've already risked half my life, you can't refuse me anymore." Seeing him like this, I couldn't bring myself to say no, so I nodded and agreed. Talking about marriage so quickly did make me feel uneasy. That's why when he first suggested staying over at my place, I refused. Later, when he suggested I stay at his place for the night, I refused again. After that, he didn't bring it up again. He just focused on getting us married quickly. He said intimacy could wait until our wedding night, and thinking about it made him even more excited. Until his little first love, Jenny, found out we were getting married and confronted me. That's when I found out he had been with Jenny first. He moved on himself, breaking things off with his first love before pursuing me. I didn't see anything wrong with that. He fell for me, broke up with her, then pursued me and got together with me. That was the right order, so I didn't really care about him and Jenny, even though she still showed up around him. When did things start going wrong? After he met my parents and our families met because of the wedding. My parents are just regular workers. They don't have much of an education or experience with the world. In front of the Smiths, who are worth billions, they seemed unsophisticated and shy. Their calloused hands didn't even dare to reach out for a handshake with the in-laws, and they couldn't provide any dowry worthy of a fabulously rich family. I noticed after that Daniel's attitude started to change. He used to be so humble and eager to please with me. But slowly, he got all high and mighty with an air of superiority. At first, I didn't pay too much attention because I'm not the same person I was 7 years ago. I don't think I'm beneath the Smiths or a spoiled rich kid. As long as he's faithful to the relationship, and his family has plenty of money, who cares if he's a little lazy? No one says you have to be a go-getter to have a good life. But speaking of being a match, I'm a doctor of research, highly educated, and destined to do great things for the people. Why wouldn't I be a match for a trust fund baby who was born with a silver spoon, can barely recognize the alphabet, bought all his diplomas and wastes money recklessly? Who's really not a match for whom here? If he thinks he's too good for me, well, I'm too good for him too. I thought he understood the balance of knowledge and wealth in our relationship. I never thought after seeing my ordinary family, he'd really feel like I was reaching too high with him, like I had hit a jackpot. Maybe I should be more humble and try to win him over by pleasing him. He's back to flirting with his old first love, who he never really got over. Because of Justin's reappearance, I've been feeling a bit flustered. Before I could snap him out of it, our wedding day was already upon us. The night before the wedding, his actions and words made it clear to me that he wasn't worthy of me. He doesn't deserve me. And it gave me the courage to try to reclaim that distant but still tender first love in my heart. Seeing Daniel throwing a tantrum on the floor, Justin seemed unfazed. I guess he knows Daniel better than I do, like they grew up together wearing the same pants. Back then, Justin and I had a secret relationship. He never introduced me to his friends or family. Until recently, when he came back to the country, the three of us didn't even know about each other's existence or past entanglements. At that time, Justin would always tell me, "Betty, give me some time. I'm truly sincere about you, but at home, I'm still not able to speak up." He asked me for time to wait for him, and I seriously nodded, saying I would. I believed him. He was this guy with average diving skills who repeatedly risked his life to dive deep to find 108 rare pearls for me. It was my birthday number. He made a precious, exquisite set of jewelry out of those pearls and presented it to me as a birthday gift. He was someone I wholeheartedly trusted. I knew his family was well off, perhaps even with some background. But I didn't know how ridiculously wealthy they were until a group of guys in black forced me into a car off the street and took me to a quiet private room. Inside sat a lady of extraordinary grace. After expressing her intention, she handed me a check for $1 million. I felt so ashamed, I couldn't even muster the courage to look up at her. But I refused to take the money, so I gently pushed it back. I heard her chuckle slightly. "Young lady, you have quite an appetite." Then, that $1 million check changed to 10 million, pushed back towards me. Her tone was light, almost gentle. "If it's not enough, I can add more. This is just petty cash for our family for a month or two. But you must break up with my son and leave his life forever. He has a fiancée, hasn't he told you? They're getting married right after graduation, and the bride's dowry is no less than 10 billion. What do you have?" In that moment, everything I knew about life, my values, collapsed. Never mind figures in billions. Even this check for 10 million that she casually offered as if it were nothing was something most people wouldn't see in a lifetime, let alone earn. And my boyfriend, Justin's mom, just used it to deal with her son's secret. Poor little girlfriend. My parents' combined monthly income isn't even 10,000, and I'm just an ordinary student from such a family. Every number she casually mentioned was terrifying, making me feel like a pathetic little frog who had dared to dream of that swan Justin. This wasn't about whether we loved each other. I really wasn't worthy of him. We were worlds apart as far as heaven and earth. People need self-awareness, and I fled, agreeing to all her terms. I didn't take the money. The amount was already overwhelming for me at that moment. Later, Justin didn't marry that so-called fiancée either. For some reason, he was shipped off abroad by his family. They used their influence to restrict his entry, keeping him away for 6 years. During that time, I threw myself into relentless studying, exams, and pursuing my doctorate. I couldn't let myself stop for even a second. Deep down I felt such crippling insecurity. I was just a lowly frog who had dared to love the prince in the heavenly palace. I tried and tried so hard to transform myself, to at least not be that unsightly and repulsive little frog from the mud. As I grew older and more mature, as I reached higher academic levels, I gradually regained confidence. I realized something important. Whether it was facing Justin or later Daniel, I didn't need to feel inferior or define myself as lowly. Because love is equal. He loved me, wanted to be with me forever, and I loved him, wanting the same. That's all. If we faced any obstacles, we'd confront them together. That was the right way to handle things. Justin rolled up his sleeves and kicked Daniel a couple more times. Why didn't you cherish what you fought so hard to get? Why didn't you cherish it when you caught it and then got all proud? Right before your wedding, you go trying to hook up with an ex-girlfriend, and you wonder why your wife would run off with someone else. You deserved it. Daniel sat up, wiping away tears, and retorted, "Did I do it on purpose? Jenny and I go way back. How could I have zero feelings for her? I just got confused after drinking too much and made that stupid suggestion, wah? Justin, even then, how could you steal your best friend's girl? Doesn't your conscience hurt? I'm telling you. Starting today, we're through. I'll remember this grudge, and we'll be sworn enemies." Justin ran a hand through his messy hair and let out a breath. Sworn enemies? You mean the Smiths don't want that 100 billion project near the South China Sea anymore? You should know I'm in charge of that now. If I kick the Smiths out, that project might just fall through for you guys. Do you think your dad with his bad temper would break both your legs out of anger? Daniel clenched his fists tightly. Are you threatening me? Justin replied casually, yeah, I'm threatening you. What are you gonna do about it? Daniel was so mad he couldn't say a word back, just glared at Justin. Justin wrapped his arm around me, lightly kicking Daniel's knee again. If you're giving in, call her sister-in-law. From now on, show respect. Stand at least 10 steps away when you see her. Daniel's eyes were bloodshot. He gritted his teeth and glared at Justin for a whole minute. Suddenly, he grabbed his head with both hands and burst into tears. I wondered if I should say something to comfort him. I opened my mouth, but I didn't know what to say. So I asked Justin for help. What should we do with him? Without hesitation, Justin grabbed Daniel's feet and started dragging him towards the door. Me and your sister-in-law just signed the papers this morning. We're all lovey-dovey right now. What are you doing here being a third wheel? Get lost. Go deal with the guests, get us off the trending topics, explain everything to your parents. Tell them I'll come over in a few days to apologize. Daniel cried louder. I will never forgive you. You lousy scumbag. You played me like a fool. Why did I even know you? Daniel was finally thrown outside the door by Justin. Stop howling. Justin said, just to clear things up, I didn't steal your girl. You had her but didn't cherish her. I just took her back. Daniel stood up, snorted, what do you mean? Justin held my hand. Let me reintroduce you. Betty, my first love. The reason I couldn't come back home for 6 years. The reason I drank myself into the hospital multiple times. The reason why I never mentioned her name to you. It's her, Betty, the only woman I've ever loved. And now she's my wife. So you better let go of any thoughts you have about her. You know I'm the only son of the Booths. I'm going to take over everything. I really don't want to destroy the Smiths, my childhood friend. 5 years later, our daughter, little Honey, was celebrating her 2nd birthday. The party was hosted at the Booths family estate. Before the party, her grandma was lovingly holding her, putting a $2 billion crown on her head. Our little princess from the Booths is born to enjoy life. Happy birthday, my dear little Honey. Grandma loves you. Little Honey snuggled into her grandma's arms. Thank you, Grandma. I love you too. Then her grandma looked over a few steps away where Justin was kneeling, tenderly fixing my shoes, and her expression changed. Pulling out a property deed, she told little Honey, lately I don't know why, but I can't stand water. It's really bothering me. This overseas estate is over half water. And I've had it for years but don't want it anymore. But your dad loves diving and swimming. I'm sure my little grandson, the little prince of the Booths, will love it too. She shoved the deed to little Honey. Go give this to your mom. Let her take your little brother there to play. This estate was one of the most valuable dowries her grandma brought into the marriage, costing nearly 20 billion back when it was bought. Little brother? Where is he? Little Honey's young voice was curious. with Justin's mom still pretending to ignore me. Both Justin and I couldn't help but chuckle. He pulled little Honey into his arms, tapped her little nose and placed her hand on my belly. He's right here. Maybe it was because I never took the 1 million she offered me years ago, she saw me differently. Or maybe it was because my current status has changed, as I've become a pillar in the National Research Institute and made significant contributions to society. Justin's parents' opposition to our marriage wasn't as strong as I had imagined. Now we're slowly reaching a stage of family happiness. The end.